Welcome to the Inquiry Group 3, Week 3 summary, and I am Julie Hensel, and I was the group facilitator this week. And here is some of my notes from our group discussion. The first prompt, the topic was digital access, and you can see here the resources that I used to create this prompt and question. I used the 9 Elements of Digital Citizenship by Mike Ribble and Gerald Bailey. And the first prompt introduction was in the article 9 Elements of Digital Citizenship by Mike Ribble and Gerald Bailey. The first listed element of digital citizenship is simply digital access. Not all of our students are able to access the same digital tools. As educators, it is important to be aware as possible of our students' varying levels of digital access. In addition, teachers and administrators need to be able to provide options for students to receive equitable distribution of technology and online resources. And that brought me to the first question I asked to my group, which was, during your time of remote teaching, how aware were you of the digital access of your own students? Did your school and/or district administration address the issue of digital access during a time of complete online learning? And I had asked my group to consider the following questions. What conversations, if any, were had between you, colleagues, and administration in regards to equitable digital access? What can be done in the future to better address fair digital access, especially if remote learning continues because of COVID-19? And if you do not currently teach, consider how aware you were of students' digital access in the past, or what can be done to offer students fair digital access in the near future. And some of the responses that I got to these questions were really, many of the people in my group felt that they were aware of their students' digital access during remote learning. Members of the group even tried to help administrators to develop plans to get students the access they needed to learn. Chelsea pointed out that digital access was the first topic her coworkers discussed during a school remote learning meeting. Many of us mentioned that we were encouraged to keep track of the students not participating in class. Heather noted that the English department at ISU saw about a 30% decrease in students attending class and completing work, despite the department doing its best to address access inequities ahead of time. The school where I teach, I wrote about how the administrators regularly were in contact with the parents of students that weren't participating in remote learning. The students who received incompletes would be working more closely with the administrators to finish their work actually over summer school. We were able to have a really great discussion and even share ideas about the future and digital access. Prompt number 2, the topic here was digital citizenship, and the resource I used to develop this prompt and question was David Bowden's poem, The Internet. So the prompt I had, we're going to go back, really quick. The prompt I had, the introduction, was David Bowden's poem, The Internet, was packed with his thoughts and feelings towards the many opportunities available to the world through the connection of the Internet. Bowden mentions that the potential and power of the Internet is how we use it. And the question I asked was actually twofold. How did David Bowden's poem make you feel? Which lines of his poem stuck out to you? And what was your reaction to them? And then the second part of the question was, do you feel that you are teaching your students to be positive digital citizens? If so, make a connection to one of the 9 essential elements of digital citizenship that you feel you are incorporating in the classroom. If not, select one of the 9 essential elements that you would like to reinforce with students. And again, we were able to have a really great discussion here. I'm just going to read some of the lines that stuck out to my group members. One of the lines is, the net of humanity has been severed severely. Another line that stuck out to someone was, unplugged by plugging in for hours. I noted that the line that stuck out to me the most was fire could be used as warmth or destruction. And another line here is when it comes down to it, the true nature of the new age unit is how we use it. Some of my group members felt that they were not really affected much by the poem. I know I felt honestly a little immune to the poem. Like it didn't feel like a whole lot of new thoughts. It felt like things I had felt before, thought through before. But for me personally, I wrote about how after watching the poem, the video for a second time and even a third time, I was more affected by it. And I did pick up on some lines that really got me thinking. For other group members, some of them did feel a great connection to the poem. Many of the group members felt that it got them thinking in different ways, it got them thinking about their students and how what we can do as educators can really affect the way that our students use the internet in the future. And maybe that's our responsibility as teachers when it comes to digital citizenship. The third prompt, the topic here was digital role models, and the resources I used was Kayla Desler's article that we read about, How Can You Become a Champion of Digital Citizenship in Your Classroom? And what I wrote first here was, each and every one of our students already has a digital footprint, regardless of their grade level. According to Kayla Desler, it is our responsibility as educators to embed sound digital citizenship practices into our curricula and to set a good example of having a positive digital footprint. And then I wrote, in week 2, we investigated a classmate's digital footprint and we really started to analyze our own presence online. And the questions that I came up with for this prompt were, again, 2 parts. Part 1, do you feel that our class investigation, your personal digital footprint reflection, and or your PLN development and reflection has changed your view on teaching your students to develop an appropriate digital footprint? And part 2, do you currently include digital citizenship practices into your teaching? What do you do to help students create positive digital footprints? How can you become an even better digital role model? And some of the responses we got here, many of the group members mentioned that they already do discuss digital footprints with their students. Some of the group members felt that they hadn't put much thought into their digital footprint before this class, whereas others felt that it was something that was really frequently on their mind. Reflecting on both the digital footprint and PLN seem to have somewhat of an effect on how we view teaching our students digital citizenship skills. This class has made a lot of us more aware of our digital footprints. And we all pretty much agree that it is our responsibility as educators to help students develop a digital footprint that they are proud of, and that we really can't rely on parents to teach children these skills. We all would like to continue to develop our digital role model skills for our students, and we're all thinking of new ways to incorporate teaching digital citizenship into our classes. And then the last prompt, prompt 4, the topic here was digital inequity, and the resources used was the NPR interview and the ISTE standards. And I wrote as an introduction, in the NPR interview with Craig Watkins, we learn more about the digital divide in today's society. Some students are presented with opportunities to use technology for interest-based reasons, participate in online communities, and or create online content. These children tend to be from affluent communities. On the other side of the spectrum, some children simply use the internet to communicate with people they know. And this led me to the last question. Where do the students in your classroom fall on the spectrum of internet use? Do you incorporate 21st century digital media skills in your teaching to encourage your students to use the internet for more than just social media and texting? How can you begin to create an environment of online student creation? make a connection to one of the ISTE standards. And the last conversation we had here, many of us felt that we had seen a disparity in digital access and opportunities with our students. We all agreed that we would like to better incorporate opportunities for students to create and give more liberties to our students to explore. This class has really opened our eyes a little bit to the importance of incorporating 21st century digital skills in the classroom. And we would like to offer more ways for students to express themselves creatively using different platforms. We would like to also allow our students to create use technology tools to create projects and digital means that will help them in the future. There's so many possibilities for our students, and if we don't, facilitate those opportunities for them, they may never have them. So that last question actually stuck out to me as a really great discussion that we were able to have. Thank you.